The job that you have is the most important job to you at that time, and do a great job at that.
Every day as an airline CEO is like solving a puzzle. You have to make sure your planes are on time, navigate geopolitical crises, work through natural disasters, handle customer complaints, and that's just the start. Delta is one of the many airlines facing these challenges. But under Ed Bastian's leadership, they've consistently come out on top. The reason? Ed's strategic approach to blending a team that's ready for anything with one that's focused on the now. Here's how Ed Bastian navigates turbulent times. So when you were last here, you were last in this seat in 2019. And at the time you said your mission was to bring the magic back to air travel. I'd love to know, where are we on that mission?
I think we're much further ahead of where I thought we'd be at this point because of the pandemic. Whenever you take something away from people as travel, adventure, experience, connection was taken away for 2 years or more from most of the world, the desire to get back to it and appreciate it and share it is even higher. And so customers are engaging with us at levels we've never seen before, and we're expanding our travels internationally at a much heightened pace than ever before. So the demand is strong, so that to me is the magic.
Are there any lessons you learned from that you apply today?
Well, first of all, I hope we never had that break in the action that gave us the opportunity. But yeah, there are lessons. Certainly, you always to stay agile, is to stay flexible and to be ready to go. I think one of the things we learned a lot about ourselves was resilience. We've been through a lot of challenges. The airline industry has over the years, and there's a resilience gene that we've built, and that muscle was flexed like never before. And so as a result, being on the other side, I really do think there's much heightened confidence in what we're delivering as well. We don't feel as fragile as maybe we were previously.
What Ed is emphasizing here is the importance of building an adaptable team. Adaptability is a skill that LinkedIn has found to have the most notable surge in demand year over year. Uniquely human skills like adaptability are in massive demand, even in this AI age. 9 out of 10 executives agree that human skills are more important than ever. CEO, one of the things you have done is think beyond just the flights. You bought oil refineries at one point in order to rethink how you buy and how you make sure you secure jet fuel.
People look at the airline industry and they see that there's just a whole lot of factors outside of the control, whether it's weather, whether it's geopolitical events, the economy, turbulence in the skies, you name it, turbulence in the airports sometimes, you name it. You focus on what you can control and think differently about the things that you don't control as to how you can have influence. And 10 years ago, we did buy a refinery outside of Philadelphia. We were facing exorbitant jet fuel prices. We went in for the reason to try to eliminate the middleman in terms of that crack spread and bring quality fuel, refined fuel at a much lower price that we can use in our economics and for our customers to kind of help keep prices and costs down. And last year, we saved $800 million off our fuel bill. That refinery cost us $150 million to buy 10 years ago.
So what do you do to get people to think beyond what would be normally expected of them?
Well, a couple of things there, Dan. One is that you do need people, by the way, and the bulk of your people focusing on what you can do better day in and day out. This is not something the company at whole can do. And the core of everything we do at Delta is based on delivering a reliable service and product. If we're not on time, if we're not delivering your bags as scheduled, if we're not where you want us to be, all the other stuff just doesn't matter. And that's really hard to do. You focus on what you can control and think differently about the things that you don't control as to how you can have influence. When you have that level of net rigor inside your operations, that gives you the license to think differently about where you can take your brand, where you can take the experience. Our industry historically has been somewhat of a commodity. The main reason people have chosen airlines in our country for many, many years was price, the lowest price. And we are changing that. Delta is not the lowest price. It's not, by far, it's not the lowest price. And that premium that people are willing to pay for and the value they attach to it is something that we're after. So we want customers to say, no, I want to fly Delta, and I understand there's a premium attached to it. So one of the things people learned during the pandemic is that, wellness was something that, people had taken for granted. And so our focus around cleanliness initiatives inside the planes, blocking the middle seats all through the entire course of the pandemic when others didn't, and we did, people still come to me today on planes and thank me.
I'm sure the economics, I'm sure the spreadsheets didn't show that taking the middle seats out would actually earn you more money.
There are certain times the CEO has to decide that, and that was one that I decided to do. I just had an instinct about where we were as a company, where we were as a society, what people valued, and how Delta should set the example and lead through the crisis.
I want to talk a little bit about the Sky Miles episode in the fall. So in October, you guys changed how Sky Miles worked. There was a lot of reaction to the change. You ended up dialing it back somewhat or taking the feedback and making some changes to what you had announced on LinkedIn. What were the lessons for you in the Sky Miles experience?
The most important lesson that I took from that episode was it renewed the strength to me of how much our customers love our brand. I could put myself in the shoes of our customers and understand that this airline that I've built years, a lifetime of loyalty with, is now changing how they're going to be rewarded or statused or whatever. I get it. The reason we undertook it was that we had so much growth in our business and such a growth of our loyalty members. We had far more premium members of the program than we had assets to serve them with. It was starting to dilute the quality, and we're starting to see lines coming out the doors of the Sky Clubs. The nature of upgrades were not possible, and the reservation lines were hard to get into. We just needed to scale it back and do a little bit of a reset. Our team, we talked a lot about it for a meaningful period of time. This wasn't just some brainchild woke up one day and said, this was a good idea. We knew this was not going to be fun.
When you announced it, you were like, oh, let's see
no question.
What's going to happen.
I responded pretty quickly that, okay, we're pulling up here. And, they said, well, maybe we should just rip the Band-Aid off and just kind of put our heads down and, we'll endure the criticism. And it came even stronger, I think, than everyone was appreciating. It was too much. Mm-hmm. It was in too soon without a lot of notice.
So you'll probably have to do this again at some point. You have to keep updating the program.
No time soon, I hope.
No time soon. It's an interesting time in aviation. You've got supersonic planes, air taxis, and vertical takeoff and landing vehicles already in the skies in some places. McKinsey predicts that by 2030, companies like these will operate larger fleets and schedule more flights per day than today's largest airlines. How do you view the future of mobility? How do you think this plays into Delta? How should we think about it?
I believe anything that enhances mobility enhances our business. Anything that enables people to move easier is going to be a boom for our business. The eVTOLs, I think, are cool. They're exciting. We're investors in Joby, one of them. I think over the next 10 years, you're going to see them, but they're not going to be taking the place of what we do. What they're going to be doing is taking the place of road traffic. They're designed to go anywhere from 30 to 75 miles, and airports are one of the main principal drawing cards for that service. That's a whole next level experience. That's why we're interested. We want to provide that as a premium amenity together with Joby operating those flights.
All right, let's talk about Boeing for 1 second. I know it has been well discussed, but as someone who doesn't mind expanding Deltas into areas where you just need stuff to get fixed, is there a solution here that Delta can play, or are you just watching from the sidelines and saying, I hope Boeing gets its act together?
Well, we're not on the sidelines. We're very involved in the conversation, and we know the Boeing team very well. Boeing is an amazing technology company, an amazing engineering company. Our world would not be the same if we didn't have a Boeing driving it. But when you think about, again, it's been well chronicled, you think about all the corporate machinations that went there, the moves, the headquarters changes, the engineering outsourcing that was done, the manufacturing outsourcing that was done. There was something lost there. And they've got to get that back. And I'm confident they will get that back.
I love to end these with career advice. What do you say to people who, let's say someone's new at Delta, they're coming in and they meet you in the elevator. What can I do to get ahead? What kind of advice do you give them?
Do a great job with what you have. The job that you have, I learned early in my career, is the most important job to you at that time, and do a great job at that. You have people that are ambitious and aspirational. I love that. But sometimes that can get in the way of trying to figure out how that they can get to the next job, and they take their eyes off the job at hand. Do a great job and I guarantee, I know at Delta, you'll be seen and you'll be heard, and people will take notice. Move to different jobs within the company. Don't be afraid of taking a lateral. Don't be afraid of even kind of dropping down a notch if it's going to get you to where you want to go. Move around in your career, but the movement has to always be based on making sure you're doing a great job with what you got currently. And by the way, be open-minded.
Yeah.
I did not set my aspirations to be the CEO of an airline. Certainly not when I started my career. I'd never even been on an airplane until I was 25. So, I mean, I'm the last person that thought I'd be sitting in this seat.
Here's what stood out to me. Making it through tough times requires proactive leaders who can uncover opportunities and make the best out of a crisis. But there has to be a balance. Not everyone can be thinking about the future. To have a well-oiled, resilient business, you also need a team that's focused on everyday logistics and improvements. A company that can do that in tandem can emerge from a bad situation in even better shape than before. We talk more about decision-making in times of crisis on the This Is Working podcast. Meanwhile, tell me, how do you navigate challenging times at work?